Hello, welcome to another episode of Shardcast. I am your host, Aaron Froats, Froatsylvania to the X community, as I bring you the 17th episode of Shardcast. Today I'll feature an exhibition match between Khendral and Karn. Khendral will be playing a Blood Wild deck, while Karn will be playing a Mono Blood deck. Karn has been instrumental in the success of Shardcast up to this point, so I wanted to make sure I featured a cast with his point of view using with his Twitch streams. So if you don't mind, at the end of the video, go down to the comments section and make sure you follow him on Twitch. In the meantime, we are going to roll over to the action. As we get underway, as I said before, we'll be watching this from the point of view of Karn. And here comes coin flip. And it looks like Karn will be starting off 2 Blood Shards, a Murder, Life Siphon, Corrupt Harvester, Malfunctioning Warbot, and a Charge Bot. As we see if he decides to hang on to that hand. Khendral will be acting first. He won the coin toss. And he does decide to keep the hand, so Khendral will act first, turn 1, as we get this game underway. Khendral plays a Shards of Fate, which won't give him anything to play this turn, but he goes and gets a Wild Resource to play on a future turn, and passes turn over to Karn. Karn, for his draw step, will draw a Call the Grave, I guess it's called, which for 1 resource, as a base action, will allow him to go in and pull any troop from a graveyard and put it into his hand. And that's a graveyard, not just his own. So he plays a Charge Bot, which immediately gives him a second charge after playing a Blood Shard. So he immediately pings Khendral for 1 using Gozog and his champion power, and will go to 21 himself. 21 for Karn, 19 for Khendral. And seeing as he only had the 1 resource, he's going to pass turn back over to Khendral. Khendral will draw for his turn. And doesn't play anything in the first main phase, which is interesting. Don't know if he's lacking in the resources already. If not, that might have been a great keep. That's unfortunate. He's going to pass it over to Karn, and Karn can get to work in a hurry here. He's going to play his second Blood Shard, and probably drop that Malfunctioning Warbot. He'll swing with the Charge Bot first, dealing 1 damage to Khendral. Khendral will go down to 18. And yep, in the second main phase, here comes the Malfunctioning Warbot, a 2/2 troop for 2. Where at the beginning of Karn's turn, it will deal 1 damage to a random champion. Khendral draws for turn, gets a second Wild Shard there. Or actually, it's his first Wild Shard, but second Wild Threshold, and plays a Munario Sensei, which is a 1/1 troop for 2, but allows him to draw a card, bringing his card total up to 7 in hand. And he will pass turn. Beginning of Karn's turn, and the Malfunctioning Warbot pings Khendral for 1, take him down to 17. He draws another Call the Grave for turn. And Karn will immediately skip his first main phase and swing both the Charge Bot and the Malfunctioning Warbot. Then Khendral will swap them. He will not. Khendral down to 14. Karn definitely on the aggressive side here. He holds on to a Persecute, 2 Call the Graves, a Life Siphon, a Corrupt Harvester, and a Murder. Passes over to Khendral, draws a card for turn. Drops a Blood Shard followed by Crash of Beasts, which will drop him a 3/3 Rhino with Crush on the board, which you have to think is going to be persecuted at the end of his turn. And yep, here comes Karn at the end of Khendral's turn. Will persecute the Rhinoceros, sending it to the graveyard, rendering Khendral's turn almost useless. It does make sure that escalation works, so that's, I guess, the positive side. Karn's troops ready. Start of the turn. Warbot will ping Khendral again. Good luck there. 13 now. Khendral bypasses first main phase. Karn bypasses first main phase and swings both bots again. We'll see if Khendral decides to swap this time. Does not. Khendral down to 10 life now. In theory, Karn could use one of those Call the Graves and go back and get the Rhinoceros if he really wanted to. Wouldn't do him any good, though, because he would still need the Wild Threshold to play it. So, wouldn't be a good play there. That's the one bad thing about using Call the Grave on your opponent's graveyard. You still have to have the threshold in order to play the card back out of your hand. Khendral draws for turn. Drops a Munario Sensei, a second copy. Draws a card and plays a Blood Shard. And then plays another Munario Sensei, which will draw him another card. Bringing a total of 6 cards in hand. He now has 3 Senseis on the board. And 6 cards in hand, but no resources. A total of total of 4 permanent, but 0 this turn. And he will pass turn back over to Karn. You have to assume he's going to double block here if Karn plays the same way he's been playing. Excuse me. Karn draws another Persecute. Still only has 2 resources. Bypasses his main phase and swings both bots again. See if Khendral decides to trade and wipe the board here. Wouldn't be a bad play, especially since he's got the upper hand on the resources. He's triple blocking the one bot. Not quite sure what that's going to do other than leave them both one card on the board. Khendral down to 9 life now. Karn at 20. Forgot to mention the charge bot hit Karn this time. That's the charge bot, the malfunction war bot hit Karn. Khendral draws card for turn. Plays a Relentless Corruption. So he's going to pull 1 card off the top of Karn's deck and put it in his hand. We'll see if we see that in the future here. Khendral 7 cards in hand, 1 resource to play with. And he chooses not to swing his Sensei into Karn. So he will pass turn. Karn's charge bot will ready, and he will draw a card for turn here. Karn looking at a Blood Shard, that's good. So now he can drop his Corpse Fly out. The 2-1 troop, but forces Khendral to discard a card when it comes into play. And it looks like he discarded a Fang of the Mountain God. Karn with that second charge now can ping Khendral again with his charge power. Karn's at 21 life, Khendral at 8. Karn decides to swing his charge bot into Khendral and see if he's going to swap with him. Which wouldn't be a bad idea because Khendral can't block the Corpse Fly in the future anyway. Corpse Fly's got flight. So they will trade off. No troops on the board for Khendral, the Corpse Fly on the board for Karn. And we will pass turn back over to Khendral. Khendral draws card for turn, up to 7 cards. And drops another Relentless Corruption, so he'll take 2 cards out of Karn's deck. Top of the deck, I guess. And with the escalation, we'll put that card back in his own deck. Khendral drops a Blood Shard. He now has 2 temporary resources, 5 permanent, 7 cards in hand, and will pass turn without playing an additional card. Karn will draw another Murder. So he has 2 Murders, a Persecute, 2 Call of the Graves, a Life Siphon, and a Corrupt Harvester. Bypasses first main phase and swings Corpse Fly into Khendral. Khendral did use his charge power on the previous turn. Unfortunately, there isn't much of an indicator when that's used other than the life total should give me a clue. But Khendral went up to 13, now he's back down to 11 with Corpse Fly's damage. Karn chooses Call of the Grave and picks the Malfunction Warbot out of his graveyard and turns around and plays it. So now Karn's at 21, Kendrill's at 11. Karn has a Corpse Fly on the board and a Malfunction Warbot. Khendral draws a card for turn, up to 8 cards, drops a Ruby Shard and an Extinction. Interesting, Khendral has 3 different shard colors here. Playing a tricolor deck, you don't see that very often, especially without having any dual color shards to play. So Khendral wipes the board with the Extinction. He now has 6 permanent resources, 2 temporary, 3 Blood Threshold, 2 Wild, and 1 Ruby. So Karn's got the turn here. He will draw a Corrupt Harvester. He can't play it because it costs 3, so instead he'll use a Call of the Grave, go back and probably pick up the Corpse Fly. He's thinking about it. Malfunction Warbot's not a bad play either. He does grab it. This way he can actually play it this turn. If you grab the Corpse Fly, he couldn't turn around and play it, because the Corpse Fly does cost 3. Instead he grabs the Warbot, plays it immediately, which Lost all the remaining resources he has, but he gets the troop out in play. So you'll turn over to Khendral, still applying the pressure. Khendral will draw a card for turn. And let's see if he does play anything on the first main phase this time. He plays another Relentless Corruption. That's going to be 3 cards out of Karn's top of his deck, bringing his card total up to 9. So Kendrill's going to have to play some cards here, be forced to discard. Plays a Wild Shard and that's a Zintas Inquisitor, and it's got the green gem in it that allows him to put a Rhinoceros into play if he deals damage to a champion. And he also plays Fang of the Mountain God, which is a 2/2 troop. So Kendrill's trying to turn the tables here just a little bit. Because now, unless Karn has a way to deal with the Inquisitor, which we know he does, Khendral can start ramping his troops on board. Warbot deals damage to Karn, bringing him down to 20, draws a Blood Shard for turn, drops it, and plays a Corrupt Harvester, which isn't terribly ideal against this deck because he is playing against Blood troops. Corrupt Harvester says he can only be blocked by Blood or Artifact troops. He's a 3/3, but he does have Life Drain, so it kind of gives Karn a little insurance policy. In the event that he needs to block, he will get the life back in return for losing the Harvester. Karn decides he's not going to swing with the Warbot this turn, and since he's out of resources, he will pass turn back over to Khendral. Khendral looks like he discarded an Extinction last turn. I'm sorry, he didn't discard. He played enough cards so he didn't have to discard. I apologize. Fang the Mountain God does 1 damage to Khendral, bringing him down to 10. And here comes another Relentless Corruption. Wow. 4 cards out of Karn's deck. I don't think I've ever seen mill by virtue of Relentless Corruption, but we may see it at this rate. Khendral. Oh. I don't know. Wow. Khendral plays a Zintas Inquisitor, this time with a red ruby gem in there that deals damage to random opposing troop equal to his attack power. So it knocks the Warbot off the board by dealing 3 damage to it. Then he drops a Munario Sensei and draws another card. Swings the other Inquisitor, this one with the green gem. Karn chooses not to block, so here comes a 3/3 Rhinoceros with Crush into play. So to recap here for just a second, Khendral has to discard. He discards a Fang of the Mountain God. He has 2 Inquisitors on board, one with the green Rhinoceros gem and one with the red damage on entry gem. A Fang of the Mountain God, a Munario Sensei, and a Rhinoceros. Karn has a Corrupt Harvester on board. Draw for turn. Karn gets a Zintas Inquisitor. Oh, with the Ruby Gem. That Ruby Gem Inquisitor that Khendral had must have been Karn's card. And Karn, without the Ruby threshold met at this point in time, I guess he's waiting for that Shard of Fate. He's not going to be able to do the damage upon entry, but he may have to play him in virtue of just being able to have a troop to block here. Khendral's trying to overpower Karn with brute force. So we could see him murder something here, or maybe play one of his 2 troops, the Inquisitor or the Harvester, just as a blocker out there. He does play the Harvester, which will help bypass some of the damage that would be dealt by the ones that aren't blocked. Because again, the Harvester does have life drain. Karn able to attack here because he has to stay back to block. Sorry, going into defensive mode here. We'll pass turn. So Karn has 17 health, Khendral has 10. Khendral draws card for turn, 8 cards in hand, 8 resources available. The Fang of the Mountain God pings him down to 9 health. Drops a Blood Shard and activates his champion power back up to 14 health. Khendral attack phase. 7 cards in hand, 9 resources. Let's see who he decides to attack here. Attack with, I should say. You have to assume. Yep, the Inquisitor with the green gem, the Fang of the Mountain God, and the 3/3 Rhinoceros with Crush all swing. So Karn's facing 8 damage. He chooses to block the Fang with the 3/3 Corrupt Harvester, which will leave the Harvester on board, draft 3 life back. Dealt 6 damage, so he only nets a loss of 3 health, down to 14. Fang of the Mountain God removed from play. However, with the damage from the Inquisitor going through, another Rhinoceros lands in play. Karn draws a Life Siphon for turn. He's got 2 murders, a Persecute, 2 Life Siphons, and the Inquisitor with the damage upon entry gem, which won't activate because he doesn't have the Ruby Threshold yet. Both health totals of 14, so this is getting close and exciting. Let's see if Karn decides to remove one of those Rhinoceros from board. Removing the Inquisitors from board doesn't do much good, except for the fact that if it removes the green one from the board, it can't attack the next turn. If you remove the red one, it actually hurts him because Khendral can turn around and play it again next turn and deal damage upon entry. But if he does remove the Inquisitor from the red Inquisitor from the board, that's one less blocker. So we'll see how Karn decides to play this. He's in a rough spot here. Not only having 4 resources, I think is what's killing Karn the most here. Because if he had enough resources, if he's keeping pace with Khendral, he could persecute one and murder one, or he could life siphon for a bunch. So Karn instead decides to murder the Ruby Zentos Inquisitor, which it still has the ability, even though it's not his originally, it still has the ability to go back to Khendral's hand and cost 5 next turn. So now he can swing with both Harvesters here, even if they're both blocked, which actually can't be blocked because neither. Actually, I didn't even see that. The Harvester has to be blocked by a Blood or Artifact troop, so both of these will go in unblocked. The Karn can swing with both and go up to 20 health here. That was actually a very good play. I didn't quite see that when it was happening there. So Karn goes up to 20, Khendral down to 8. Karn actually has no blockers here though, so Karn will actually be taking at least 10 damage on the next turn. Another Blood Shard for Khendral. Drops the Inquisitor with the Ruby Gem, which will knock one of the Harvesters off the board. Khendral with 5 resources available, 7 cards in hand. See if he swings the house. Or if he keeps the one of the... Nope, he's going to swing the house, meaning 10 damage coming into Karn. Karn will go down to 10. Another Rhinoceros on board because the Wild Gemmed Inquisitor dealt damage to the champion. However, same scenario. Karn can actually murder or persecute the Inquisitor that's still up and swing through without having the Rhinoceros block because it's not a blood creature. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually starts using his life siphons here. I know he only has 4. If he uses the Persecutor, he can life siphon for 2. Which won't be bad because he still has 1 on board and can actually life siphon for 4 next turn. He does. He persecutes the Ruby Gemmed Inquisitor. Sorry about that. Dog barking. So he's going to swing the Harvester, which will take Khendral down to 5. And his health total will go back up to 13. If he life siphons for 3 here, without a life gain, Karn can actually life siphon for 4 next turn to win the game. Yep, here comes the life siphon. Excellent play by Karn. The fact that the Harvester can't be blocked by wild creatures is what's hurting Khendral the most. Khendral down to 3 health. Karn up to 15. Khendral needs some form of life gain here, or be able to do 15 damage here. He can do 13. So Karn has to be wary of some sort of burn or additional buff here that could actually do it. The Inquisitor is going to take the Harvester off the board here, which actually doesn't hurt Karn at all because he's actually going to win with the life siphon. Here comes another Inquisitor with the Wild Gem, but again, these two troops can't attack this turn. So Khendral can only attack for 13. So this is Karn's game to win, because Kendrill's down to 1 resource. Karn will go down to 2 health. Here comes the swing for 13. Karn has to take it down to 2. But we know Karn's got a life siphon. Here comes another Rhinoceros. Doesn't matter. Khendral passes turn. That's got to be game. Ruby Shard. He can life siphon for 5, but no, he's going to ping Khendral for 1 here and take the 1 health. So now he only has to life siphon for 2. He's going to head life siphon for the whole 5. This is game. What a game. Karn was up top. Then Khendral turned the tables. Then Karn takes it back. That was a huge game. What a play here. Karn comes back, wins it based off of back-to-back life siphons. The fact that the Corrupt Harvester ended up being such a great play here, as it can't be blocked except by blood artifact creatures, and that's not what Khendral had. Every time Khendral would have a blood creature up to block, Karn would kill it, leaving no blockers available. So he was gaining life back with the life drain on the Harvester, yet also decreased the life total of Khendral. So very, very savvy play by Karn. Great deck, though, by Khendral. If it wasn't playing against Crypt Harvesters, Khendral would have rolled over his opponent. So that was an excellent, excellent game. Definitely a fun one to Shardcast. So I appreciate you tuning in. And again, this was the 17th episode of Shardcast. Follow Karn on Twitch, as I put his link at the bottom of the page here. And until then, until next time, I am Fruitsylvania, and so long. Brace yourself.